Thank you for listening to The Walt Weekly with your host, Walter Latham Sr., and co-host, Michelle Sweeney McCombs. You can find us at www.thewaltweekly.com. On social media, Instagram, The Walt Weekly, Facebook, The Walt Weekly Podcast, Twitter, Walt Weekly, and Podbean, The Walt Weekly. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and other streaming platforms. Please like, follow, and share The Walt Weekly.
Hello, all, and thank you for joining another episode of the Walt Weekly Podcast's Friday Live version. I am your host, Walter Latham, along with your co-host, Michelle Sweeney McCombs. And welcome to our celebration of Women's History Month. Before I proceed with our distinguished guests, let me personally wish one of my closest and dearest friends and the co-host of this show, Michelle Sweeney McCombs. And I can't get to my engineering board, so I can't clap right now, but let me do it here.
All
right. Okay, here we go. And I want to wish her a happy Women's Month. And as I've said many times, she is one of the hardest working people I know. And I am very proud of what she has accomplished and the glide path she has established for herself. She is also a partner of the TWW. Again, thank you, partner. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Walter.
And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Walter. That was sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you and good evening, everyone. Today's Friday Live is sponsored by Women Black-Owned Businesses, Beauty Blends by Ami, Soap and Love, Michelle Sweeney here. Our intro and outro music is provided by Uncle Nephew. And welcome to our panel guest members, Greg Coleman out of North Carolina, Stephen A. Smith out of Atlanta, Georgia, Christopher Sweeney out of New Jersey, Ernest J. Robinson out of Washington, D.C. Thank you, panel, for always supporting us. It's not only Women's History Month, we celebrate our men as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you to our audience for joining. Today, the Walt Weekly celebrates Women's History Month with Tajiri, the RichTwin, and Sukari, Sweet Twin. They're twin sisters. They are Morgan State alumni, retired. Yes, give it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. You got a trigger finger tonight, Walter. Good.
It.
Yeah, I'm toggling my ass off over here.
Yeah. Thank you. They're also retired New York City correction officers, educators, hip-hop icons, dancers for Wu-Tang Clan member Shyheim the Rugged Child. They're gun, violence, and domestic abuse advocates representing Staten Island, New York. Welcome, ladies. Welcome to the Walt Weekly. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome. Thank you so much. I want to meet these girls. They sound amazing.
You guys look at them every day in the mirror. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys giving me this time and supporting me as well in my business. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
You do so much.
I appreciate that. And we're going to have a lot of questions. Well, not a lot. Sent you some questions, and I'm sure our panel members, the men in the back, are enjoying this, right? Right, guys? Give these girls some love, guys. I don't hear y'all. I know you on mute.
Oh, yeah.
We're all mute. We're all mute.
I know you can come in. Y'all can come in every now and then.
Appreciate that. Thanks for the permission.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So, ladies, I'm going to start off because as mothers and wives, you both wear a lot of hats. You know, we all do. But you guys have a phenomenal life. And can you tell us a little bit about your humble beginnings working for New York City Department of Corrections and the entertainment industry as young women, starting out early?
The funny thing about our lives is everything actually kind of fell in our laps as life went along. It was actually like a God-given guidance. It was something, we truly feel it was our path. because things would be presented to us. You want to do this? Oh, sure. Take the test. Oh, sure. And life just kept happening.
Well, as far as corrections, we took the test when we was 16. My mother's a retired deputy warden from corrections, and majority of my family was city employees. We were put into these tests when we were young because at the time you only needed a high school diploma or a GED, and it was a fallback. It was a safety net. So we had a lot of family on corrections, and I think I'm the only person in the world that said at 16 years old I'm gonna be a correction officer. I don't think anyone has ever said that, but I wasn't really great in school at the time, so I knew that I was gonna take a safe path. As far as but I ended up going to school, but it's still I took the test so early that when they called me, it was a no-brainer. And as far as dancing, Shyheim is he's our little brother. Blood could make us tighter. And his career just became so well. And we always were hip hop dancers. We can go back to Mercury. Mercury from the Force MDs. When we were younger, we danced for a group called Double Maxon, and we were called the Double Mint Twins. And one day we were walking in New Brighton, and I saw a flyer for a party he was giving, and he had us down as special invited guests. And it just took on a life of its own after that.
And Mercury always saw something huge in us, even way back then. And corrections, like Sukari said, we took the test at 16, and the then Mayor Dinkins, implemented a 4-year hiring freeze. So we went off to college, Morgan State, right after graduating high school, because in my family, college is 13th grade.
Yeah.
And so we went off to college, and they lifted the freeze, and we had just turned 21. And they said, you guys got called. We came out of college in our senior year and started corrections. We were 98, 92 pounds soaking wet. We looked 12.
Yeah.
We looked 12, and we went straight into Rikers Island after the academy.
Oh, wow. How challenging was that? Being so young, looking young, correction officer?
We didn't look at it as being young. We looked at Rikers Island like riding a train. One, we hung out in the projects and the streets of New York every day. You don't tolerate in there what you don't tolerate on the street. And both respect and disrespect are earned. If you treat people how they're supposed to be treated, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Wow. That's interesting. An early path at an early age. You knew exactly what you wanted. So that's awesome. Amazing.
What we wanted was to make good money.
That helps.
Our parents did what they had to, so we did what we were supposed to, so our kids can do what they want to.
Awesome. That's amazing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Amazing. So how was it as dancers for Shyheim, the rugged child of the Wu-Tang Clan? There was a lot of them. They brought Staten Island on the map. It was a forgotten borough.
You have to understand that Shyheim actually was signed early. He signed separately to Virgin Records, and we took the whole ride with him through ASCAP, through going to Virgin Records in California to perform for him to get the contract. But amazingly enough, right as it was time for us to go to college, hip hop groups stopped using dances. You got to remember, there was a time when every group had a dancer. And then they asked us, they said, are you going to come? Are you going to do the dancing thing? Or are you going to go to college? And we took a look at ourselves and said, well, the dancing thing is dying out and we need to secure a future. So we chose college. Our friends, our family, they'll be there when we go to school. We'll go to shows when we can, but let's be honest with ourselves. It's a great thing and we enjoyed it, but it wasn't what's going to hold us down when we bought our houses.
It wasn't going to pay the bills. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. In college, it was super dope to be riding away with Shyheim and Wu-Tang in college. That was super dope. When they came in town, we went to shows and they held us down. But Shyheim was doing his touring thing, and we were in class.
So when you were off on breaks and stuff, were you able to travel with them as well, or dance or perform while you were on break, or just took a break totally?
We kind of took a break totally. We went to shows. We were at the shows. We just didn't perform. If it wouldn't look. it wasn't routine that we put together. We'd be on stage dancing, but more as background. If you realize when they go on stage, it's 1,000 people. So we were just, there with everybody else enjoying the ride like the rest of them.
It was hanging out with your friends. Hanging out with your friends. And it was fun. We had great times. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Great experience for you guys. I saw them when they were when they did the reunion tour in Coney Island.
Oh, nice.
I went out there. Yeah, that was awesome. But, it was a lot of them.
Always is.
Yeah, they roll in a big pack, but very talented, classic music, of course. Just part of our culture, which is amazing,
Yeah, they never die down. I kind of can't wait for the 20th with the verses with Ghost and Ray, because that's just going to be a big concert because most of their songs are together.
Oh, that's tomorrow, the 20th? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay. So that should be interesting to see. Awesome. So you guys, graduating from Morgan State, and you are currently also educators, business women. How has COVID impacted you both with your businesses and being educators as well?
Blessedly enough, we were not impacted financially like other people.
Yeah.
My prayers to everyone else. And sometimes it almost feels like, wow, we are super blessed. Our pensions are secured. We're retired from the correction department, so those checks come in regardless.
Right.
And then we're educators. We're both long-term substitute teachers, which is extra money, but it's not what carries us. So we are really, really blessed not to have been faced with the hardships that others. Granted, there are aspects of it that affected us, but it was more an emotional thing for me because when coronavirus first started, I was scared to open my window.
Yeah, I had to come over here and make her come outside. I said, okay. She was really, I knew it was serious, but she had so much anxiety that if she saw somebody walking from down the block, she almost ran and locked everything. They had me sitting outside. I'm sitting outside 6 feet away from the front door. I'm like, it's okay.
Because it wasn't just me. Like, I'm a 5-year-old.
Right,
I don't
exactly.
know how it's going. My older girls are self-sufficient, but we didn't know exactly how this would affect anyone. And I really, it hit me hard. I was scared. And I'm not afraid
the only one.
Yeah,
I was super scared.
But
it was like some great plague that was going to come under my door and get us all.
I think that, that part.
Yeah.
But I think what it affected me as far as educators is to see how it affects the students. It's just not the same. I'm a PE teacher. And to, teaching PE remotely, it's just not the same thing. It's more help. I try to work out with the kids, but they're just sitting there 9 times out of 10. Their screens are not even on. Some are there, some are not.
Wow.
And then in the school, when we're in the school, they can't move. I'm middle school. There's a joy of watching kids run from class to class and all the horseplay in the hallway. I enjoy it. I remember being that age, and they don't get that.
As a matter of fact, last year when it first started, we were both in IS 49 together. She was the PE teacher, and I was Algebra 1 math teacher. And I remember she and I sat there, and we were more disappointed for the students, especially the 8th graders, their whole 8th grade year. I remember being, in 8th grade in graduation time and the autograph books and the fun of we're about to go into high school, and that was real for them. Because not only did they not get their 8th grade graduation, they didn't get their first day of freshman year of high school.
College too. My daughter graduated from Clark Atlanta University, and we had to give her a graduation in my backyard. We had to put something together because she didn't get that.
Yeah, had to figure it out. Wow. Yeah, that's tough because
she graduated.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. That's amazing. So I want to get into, you guys are avid advocates of gun violence and domestic abuse. You host a lot of engagements at HBCUs and women events. Can you tell us about that and why it became your passion?
I'll let Jerry take this one.
Okay, gun violence starts as a passion from growing up in our communities and watching your friends start dropping like flies. And And then when you become adults, you watch your friends' children.
Your children's friends.
Your friends' children drop like flies. Like we're older now, and those of us who are blessed enough to make it past that point are now scared for our children. I go on Facebook and I'll see where the kids are saying, "Rest in peace to my boy. He was a good dude." And my mind is, that's so-and-so's child.
Yeah.
So you get from the point where your friends used to get, shot and die in the street to now my friends' children. And it all comes back to something that could have been handled through a conversation. And I'm not even going to pretend I'm not an advocate of violence, but throw your hands. Throw your hands, fight, give a fair one.
And go home at night.
And put some ice on your eye, but stop shooting each other.
Right.
If you're that upset about it, but usually 9 times out of 10, you can walk away and talk about it. You're not a punk for wanting to wake up in the morning. Please believe me, you're not a punk for wanting to wake up in the morning. You cannot beat that bullet no matter how thorough you feel you are. So the advocacy for gun violence is, let's save our own lives. We can't keep yelling at the world is against us. We can't keep saying that white America is targeting us when we're the ones shooting at the targets.
Well, that I understand that. I'm not going to say, because they do come at us in all different directions. It's not only gun violence when it comes to the last statement, but I will say this: what these children don't realize as they run out and grab a gun, that having a gun doesn't make you safe, because it always comes down to who gets to it first, and it doesn't take heart to pull a trigger. It doesn't take heart.
The punk is usually the one that pulls the trigger out of fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Now, granted, the statement I made prior to that, no one I know is shelling guns into communities.
Exactly.
No one I know has an ability to get a shipment load of AK-47s. So we're definitely being issued them. It's the same as I often say about drug dealing. Cooking crack is a chemistry experiment. Someone had to teach it.
Yeah.
Right.
So whoever's shelling it to us is definitely responsible, but stop shooting each other. Once it gets to your hands, don't use it. Don't use it. That's someone's child, someone's brother, someone's sister, someone's father, someone's uncle.
Or some innocent bystander who has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on.
The little kid standing in the park because you don't know how to actually shoot that gun.
Exactly.
So the recoil was going to shake your hand. That's for the gun violence thing. As far as the domestic violence, I'm a survivor. And so it's near and dear to me, because what I realized my situation was, I didn't realize that it was domestic violence, or because I wasn't afraid. The TV teaches you that you have to curl up in the corner and scream, please, please, no, no, don't, stop, please. And I'm more like the grab a frying pan, hit you upside your head while you're trying to do it type of person. So in our communities, we tend to not realize that we're in toxic or unhealthy relationships, because you say, I'm not afraid of him.
Or because I fought back. If I'm fighting back, it's not domestic violence, but it is, because it shouldn't even be a fight to begin with.
Unhealthy.
Exactly.
It's toxic. And your children replicate what they see. And I have 4 daughters, and I said to myself, they're coming of age. And if my daughter ends up in this situation, I'm responsible.
Right, exactly. That's
and I often, when I do speak, I used to go down to a women's, it was, I forget the name of it, but it was for battered women. And I would tell them to write their story out in 3rd person. And at the end of it, write, what would you tell her to do? Because we give great advice, but we never take it. And to thine own self be true.
Absolutely.
Right. I agree. That's amazing. Okay, that's awesome. Guys, you have anything you want to elaborate on that before I go to my next question? Or you guys have anything you want to add, or
just want to tell her I'm glad she's still with us and glad she got herself out of that situation. Happy for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The truth about it is, it's a lot more dangerous when you take the step to get out. And that's when the women and some men really need the help, because the abusive behavior comes from a controlling behavior. And when they realize they don't control you anymore is when it really gets dangerous. Because they go into a spiral of, I need to get this back under control, and that's when the stalking and the stabbings and things take place, because they cannot believe they can no longer control you.
Right.
So if you know someone in that situation, once they get out of the house, don't think it's over. Check on them.
Right. Definitely. Anyone else on that topic, guys?
Yeah, this is Greg. You seem to be, I mean, just have so much information on domestic violence and just inner city violence in general. Do you? I believe you mentioned that you go around, you speak about this, you mentor youth. How do you put that information out there so others learn about it?
I tell my story. I tell my story on podcasts like this. I speak at domestic violence panel discussions. Usually it's overshadowed, sadly, because they put the 2 months domestic violence awareness and breast cancer awareness are the same month. So some of it tends to get overshadowed. But I go to colleges and I speak openly. And when I see it, I address it. And I start by saying, before you think I'm judging you, let me tell you about me.
Right.
So they don't think that I'm looking at them and judging them, because no one can tell an adult what to do. I can only tell them what could happen.
Right. Because you
And the fear of what could really happen is how you get someone's attention. I have stitches in my face, and I show them to you. This right here, this is not something I'm proud of, but I deal with it. It's what I lived with.
Right.
Well, listen, this is Steve Smith, and I had a self-esteem and abstinence campaign that I started, 11 or 12 years ago. In fact, Michelle Sweeney was one of the people that helped me start that 11 and 12 years ago. And in my travels, I had it going, for 3 or 4 years. I was very active with it. It's something I absolutely want to get back to. But I mean, I met young ladies that have, had sex and have been impregnated from for McDonald's for their kids on an evening, just because that's the only thing that they can offer was their body. So it is, and I did a lot of mentoring over that period of time. And I had young ladies call me a couple of years after, just wanting to have someone that would listen. I mean, and I think that's something that that's a skill I had to develop, to be able to listen and to understand that. I mean, these people are reaching out to you, and it's because they don't feel like they have anybody else to reach out to. So listening to your story, it just brought back memories of that campaign that I had that I think is still applicable now. It's still so necessary now. We run out of money with a lot of these initiatives, and it's I mean, people are always in need.
I wanna applaud you for being someone to talk to, because a lot of people deal with stuff privately. They don't tell their family, they don't tell their friends, because they don't want it thrown back in their face later. They need it's embarrassment. And they really need someone to talk to, that they're not worried is going to turn around during some heated family argument and throw their business out at everyone. That's very important to have.
And I need to say this for anyone who may be listening. The freest moment in your life is when people finally find out. The fear of people finding out. Mind you, I was a correction officer, so it really wasn't supposed to happen to me. And the embarrassment, you don't feel you can tell someone because you're embarrassed. And the minute it's out, I remember telling my sister, I'm free now. He's already embarrassed me. I'm free now. Now I make my move.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that while it was happening. But the minute when everybody found out, and I'm like, yo, I don't have to hide it no more. Now I can make a move.
Yeah.
It was a very freeing moment. Tell someone. It not only
tell a phone, tell a friend, tell somebody. Tell somebody.
Right.
No, but get it out. It's scary, but I'm telling you, it's freeing. and then you can really make your move. But protect yourself. Protect
Right.
yourself, and you at that point make sure you tell somebody.
Right.
Tell somebody where you're going. Tell somebody where you'll be. Tell somebody where you were. Protect
Right.
yourself, because not
Right.
only will they attack you physically, financially. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my ex
Yeah.
called my job and told them I'm prepared to lose it all. I just want to make sure she loses it with me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have a support system, and honestly, Sukari is my biggest support system.
Oh, thank you, sister.
She get on my
Amazing.
nerves sometimes. I was listen. That's why I said it's important to have somebody to talk to. I'm
Yeah, you
guilty. I'm
have to.
guilty of yelling it back when I say, "What do you do?" Like to find out stuff and then see the person speaking to that person is like, "What are you doing?" But I'm not in your shoes. I don't know what you're going
Right.
through. And you have a relationship. There is a connection. There's kids involved. So you got to
Right.
find a way to make your move and save them while you're saving yourself.
Right.
But yes,
Exactly.
SOS, honey. SOS. Save
Save
That's right.
yourselves.
That's right. That's right. Support system is key in that as well. Because when you don't have
And
anybody, you stay deeper in it.
learn to
Yeah,
listen.
man.
Learn to
Mm-hmm.
listen and look for the signs. Some people may be giving them. They're hard to locate sometimes. They're very subtle.
Right. Or they give them, and you're just afraid to make a move. On some of them.
Hey,
Yeah,
So.
Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Go
And
ahead, Ernest. Mhm.
it's not just women. It's a lot of
Right.
men
That's
too.
for that's for sure. Yes. Ernest, you wanted to say something? You want to add
Y-
anything to that?
Yes. So, one, I definitely appreciate these queens coming on here and sharing their story. And one thing I share when I talk with people is that no one cares what you've been through until you tell them how you came through. And the and so when you're talking about, and especially, and then I say things so we can get to our listeners, but you talked about your sister being your support, but talk about how long it took to get to a point where you were comfortable
Mm.
enough to be able to open up to her.
Wow.
Because obviously she's been there your whole life, but
Mhm.
there was a point in time where you didn't feel that way. How did you come through, get to the point where you were able to tell her, to get to that freedom of letting it be known?
Oh, it wasn't me. I was shamed into it. I'll be completely honest. I was
Oh,
hiding
wow.
it for many years in a marriage, and then I brought him on my job. I got him into the same career as me, and he brought his MF and messed up behavior where I worked. And
Wow.
I had to acknowledge the fact that if you do this where I am, you're crap. And in that case, I'm talking about infidelities.
Right.
And then the fighting became public, because when I got out of the relationship, when I said I'm not doing this anymore,
Mm-hmm.
the robbing of the house and the ripping up my stuff and the breaking holes into my things and showing up at my job with pictures and things
Wow.
of that nature. But I was shamed into it, and then I just had to acknowledge it.
Right. Wow. That's deep. I can't even imagine what you went through, how long it took. And, when you have children involved, that makes you make decisions smarter and quicker as well. Like you said
Yeah,
earlier, it could, stem into your children in the next generation. So I applaud you on that. Thank
thank
you
you.
for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. That was deep, you guys. So we're gonna
Yeah, it
move
was.
on. Yeah, I appreciate that. Um, you were involved in I am a citizen of hiphop.org. Can you elaborate on that organization a little bit if you can?
Yes, the organization is started by a young lady that I met actually a few times before that parade. The picture you have up is the African American Day parade,
Okay.
which I wanted to speak, and say that because a lot of people don't know that parade exists, but it's in Harlem
Yes.
every year. And so I was at the parade, and she gave me the flyer. Janae Butler, shout out to her. They gave me the what is that thing that
Banner.
the banner that I'm walking with,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just showing that a citizen of hip hop simply means that I live this. It's not just music to me. Hip hop
Right.
is a culture, a way of life. There's different organizations that it's linked to. And so instead of, just saying that this is my culture.
It's your walk, it's your talk, it's your dress, it's your attitude.
Right.
It's not just music.
Exactly.
Rap is the music. Hip hop is the culture.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
the organization is just saying this is my culture.
Awesome. Awesome. That's awesome. So, Tajiri, I'm going to ask you into your entertainment business. You have had the honor to branch out into TV. Tell us about your appearances on We Are the Joneses, and why did you decide to go on national TV to share your personal story?
I have had, first of all, We Are the Joneses is a reality show about Mike Jones and Kathleen Trigg Jones. They are the Joneses.
Yes.
And I had my breast done, a breast augmentation done on the show. Mike Jones is like the Dr. Miami of New York. He is
Right.
And Atlanta.
and Atlanta, and now DC. He's branching out. He's most famous for having done Wendy Williams' boobs many, many years ago.
Right.
And Kathleen is an award-winning journalist that used to be on UPN 9 News, Kathleen Trigg Jones. And so I went on the show because I've always had issues with my breasts. Okay, so I had one everted nipple and one inverted nipple, which means one was completely in and non-existent, and one was extremely protruding. And so when I decided to get my breast done, because for many years I wouldn't even take my bra off, like I was even during intimate situations.
Right.
So I decided as an adult, we all have something about us that we want to fix. And I decided to fix that about me. And many years ago, I remember reading in the paper and seeing on the news that there was this young girl who passed away at 18 for getting a botched surgery for the same issue that I had. And I always remember saying, I wish that I could have met her, or someone else could have talked to her. I found through that and other things that no matter what you're going through in life, there's someone else experiencing that. No matter what it is, you're not alone. And so I decided to tell my story on national television because it, like in everything else, it might help someone.
Right.
And then I also decided that I refused to be ashamed by anything in my life ever again. So I shared my story, and I'm very happy with what they did. I feel they look great. That's what the show is about. And then the rest of the show, basically, it followed them in their life of his business, her business, and how they made it work with their family.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely a great reality show. I watched it. And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On your new friends. That's awesome. So I do have another question, and I sent it to you. Hopefully, it's cool to ask. You're going through a traumatic time right now with your significant other having a recent successful colon cancer surgery. How has this impacted your families? And is his recovery and treatment going well with all the precautions that we have to go through now due to COVID?
It is an emotional roller coaster, and it's one that he's dealing with. I can't honestly say it's affecting me more than it's affecting him.
Right.
They successfully removed the tumor, but there are things that he still has to deal with. It's an uphill battle. He's a strong man, and I'm sure that it will be a long time. It won't be something overnight. I just ask that keep him in your prayers.
Definitely.
And I just hope that in the end it is. I can come back on and say, y'all, it's done. He's good.
Awesome. Yes, he'll be fine. He's a fighter. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. We appreciate that. Kari, do you have anything you want to add to anything she just previously stated in reference to entertainment business wise? You'd like to add any projects that you have going on yourself?
Well, this is Tajiri. I want to shout out Sukari because Sukari recently completed her master's in adult
Awesome.
education.
All right, all right.
Thank you.
Congrats. Yes.
Thank
All
you.
Congratulations.
right.
Congrats.
Thank you.
When we went to
Yes.
Morgan, we came out in a college in our senior year to start corrections.
And when we retired, we decided to finish what we started. We actually went back to Morgan. We both drove down at different times, once a week for
Hmm.
the classes that we had to take. And then when we finished, we said, let's just keep going. So Tajiri has her master's in project management now, and I have my master's in adult education and administration.
Congratulations.
All
That's
Thank
awesome.
right.
you.
All
Yes.
Um,
right.
as
Yeah.
far as business and entertainment, I'm sorry, I'll wait for the applause to finish. I love the applause.
No, I had to
But
do that.
it's okay. I love it. Thank you. With me and my husband together, we have a production company called Gold Mine Unlimited, and I have my oldest daughter I'm blessed. She's a teacher in Atlanta right now. She's special ed teacher. She graduated from Spelman, and she's now getting her master's at Clark Atlanta. My youngest graduated from Clark. She's getting her master's at Clark Atlanta, but she's also into music, so she should be dropping a product soon. And when that happens, I hope to be back on to promote it.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Congratulations. So
Fantastic.
put your production information down in the chat box so people can see
Sure,
that
sure,
and yeah, follow through.
no
To,
problem.
All
yes,
right.
thank you for that. To Jerry, you want to add some more in there or in
Sukari and
future?
I,
Hmm.
she never remembers me.
I love her. I just said you got your
No,
master's in
no,
project
not
management.
that. I'm saying Sukari and I are working on a radio show that we'll be bringing out launching sometime this summer. I'll give
Awesome.
you more information on that.
Okay.
Also, my oldest daughter, she's about to make me a grandma.
All right.
She's
Yes.
down in
Nothing
Yes.
Atlanta,
like it.
graduate
Nothing
from
like it.
Clark Atlanta University. Yes, and she has her graphic design company,
Yes.
FluencyGraphics.net.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my second oldest, who's 20. She's in her third year of college at Ursinus University and Ursinus College, and she's studying to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. And I have my
Excellent.
17-year-old, who's a high school senior, looking towards West Virginia University. She's been accepted. I think that's where her heart is because she's cheers. Then the baby, my 5-year-old
Yes.
Valencia,
Mm.
Yes.
Sia the diva,
A little
as
princess.
yes, and just working.
Don't forget Blue the dog.
What is the name of your clothing line?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Palm trees, just add water. I do have a clothing line. I forget these things. I'm all wrapped up in what else we're discussing. I'll put it.
Right.
It's palm
Put in the
trees.
chat room.
Add
Mm-hmm.
water.
You
I'll put
can.
it in now. Thank you.
Awesome.
We're currently the over the female line of Shyheim's clothing line, Isometric Concepts.
Right.
Oh, and just to
Nice.
shout out my daughter Anissa. She has a book club called Players Read. She has these spread out over different, international. She has only about 127 people, but that's a lot internationally for your book club. And she sells
Right.
clothes through that also. It's called Players Read.
And thank you for listening to everything about our family. We're so proud of our
Yeah.
girls.
No,
We're so
that's
proud of
amazing.
our
They're
girls.
wonderful girls. I want to shout her oldest daughter out. She is the reason why I have my new logo. She designed my logo and helped me brand.
Thank you
Oh,
Amazing.
so
excellent.
much. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Yes. Yes.
She's a
So
graphic design genius.
yes, she really is.
And
So we have
she
more
just
work for
got
her.
asked.
So
Yeah, she just got
yes.
asked to
We sure
teach
do.
graphic design and mass media at Clark as well, which is great.
Oh, great. Great. Congratulations.
We all know what
Nice.
God
Well,
has truly blessed us
Mich-
on.
Definitely.
Michelle,
Definitely. Yes, sir.
this is Chris. Can I tap in for a second? I just
Yes. Go
want to
ahead.
say you young ladies have lived a full life. Boy, you do a lot of things and
Thank
you're
you.
successful at all of them. And congratulations. Sounds like a lot of ladies are in that line of that family, though. You got
Yeah.
all girls?
Well,
Yes.
it's three. My parents have four children, one boy and three girls, and all the girls have all girls, and the only boy has four boys. So it just so happened
Wow.
Wow.
that way.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yes.
I got one more question for you. Since you mentioned Shaheem, you guys are still working with him. I know he
Absolutely.
recently
That's
came home. We're glad to have him back home. I I still remember that number one hit, On and On. So the
Yeah.
Rugged Child.
You see
So
me in that
Yes.
that's
video standing behind him with my little bandana on and vest rocking from side to side. I was such a
I'm
little
I'm
thing back then.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check it again. Does he have any new material he's working on?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He just a lot of his videos are now on YouTube. And he's launching more music almost every day. He's in the studio a lot. He was supposed. I was gonna have him come here today. I don't. He would call in if I could figure out how to work this. But yeah, he's working. He has music. You can follow him on Instagram at Shyheim_rugged.
Yes. He
Shyheim_rugged on.
also has isometric concepts. Someone put a a question in the chat, if you don't mind me looking at it. It's a young
Yes.
lady named April.
Hmm.
It said, if you could attribute your success to one thing, what would it be? I'm gonna just say God.
Absolutely.
That's it
Yes.
in a nutshell. God, and a lot of prayer
Hmm.
about my grandmother.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Our ancestors'
Excellent.
prayers
Well,
kept us through a lot. But
we
absolutely.
we would love to hear from Shaheem. Tell him to come on the show because he's got a life. He's got a story to tell.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish there was a
Amazing.
way we could call through a
Okay.
podcast, but I'm still trying to
Don't
figure out
worry.
how to stay on without going out.
That's another show. We'll
Okay.
take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. Whatever way we get it. We appreciate that. So yeah, you ladies
Okay.
are amazing. We appreciate you. Go ahead, Ernest.
Yeah. So there was so one I wanted to ask the ladies, when did y'all come out of Morgan first?
1995.
We
So
finished.
y'all,
Go ahead.
yeah, y'all know Rock,
Rock.
Edwin Johnson.
I probably would have to see a face. It's been a
Okay,
lot. You know.
did the Qs take care of y'all when y'all was at the pot chapter? Take care of you.
Yes.
Okay, that's all. That's all I want. That's the.
Absolutely. With the crazy.
There was Felonious, there was Ben. Those were two Qs that we knew
Yeah.
at that time. I think they were 91, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
91.
and Malcolm Day.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a lot.
That's.
We have a lot of cues in my family also. Oh my goodness. You should see us at the family reunion. They come out to Atomic Dog. Don't let Atomic Dog go away.
Ah.
A lot of barking and gold boots.
I'm telling you.
Look,
Wow.
it's all good. So I did, but I did have a hip hop question though,
Okay.
and being that it's Women's Month and everything else, how do you ladies, with understanding the culture of what you wear, how you wear it, and how you present yourself, as far as what y'all alluded to earlier, as far as being hip hop, how do y'all square that with the recent performance of
Wow.
Cardi B and WAP and the presentation, and that being the accepted form or presented form of hip hop?
You stole
Okay.
my question, Ernest.
I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna sit here and people. It was a performance, but listen, they're successful. We can go all the way back to Little Kim standing next to Diana Ross with one boob out,
Right.
or Foxy Brown. It's not for us to understand the new culture. It's for them to have their. I'm not gonna knock anybody. I mean, I'm not gonna say. Look, I'm guilty. I like Cardi B. I'm guilty.
I like Cardi B too.
I have my own take on it. Their hustle is amazing. And the thing about it is, in hip hop, the streets has always been, or what they're living in the streets has always been what they rapped about. Biggie started running out of things to say when he said he was no longer able to rap about selling drugs in the street. And unfortunately, in this generation, when the struggle in the streets comes in, the guys sell drugs and the girls strip.
Well, Megan didn't. Megan
No,
just
I'm
said
talking about
Cardi.
the belief and that's how the struggle goes. And if there are people who rhyme.
Well, can I ask a
like, there are
question?
people-
Has anybody asked Madonna why she rolled all over the floor in a wedding dress to like a virgin? Why do we
Because
always
it's soul.
down our own?
I'm not saying it down and no. I'm saying as far as hip hop in this generation,
Got you.
it's what's understood that is the culture of the street right now. The minute T-Pain fell in love with a stripper, being a stripper was accepted. And I'm just
Right.
being
I'm going to
honest.
tell you, Cash Money took over in 99,
Yeah,
not
very much so.
2019, and we was out there duty
Back
brown.
that thing up.
We listen. They got it from somewhere. Like I said, Little Kim and Foxy
Right.
Brown is our generation, and they were out there in nothing.
And the truth be
You know,
told,
Beyonce performs in a leotard every time she steps the stage. Just because she's Beyonce doesn't mean she's not half naked either.
Exactly.
Right.
She stays popping it.
Yeah.
But her
And
level,
she sings how nice it is to give her man head in the back of a limo, and we like, go Beyonce.
on a silver plate and not a garbage can lid, it's looked at differently. What's the little lady that had Disney Channel show? Straight Crazy.
Raven.
Raven.
She did go to
I'm talking
radio.
about Billy Ray
Hannah
Cyrus's
Montana.
daughter.
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
It's the shock factor too, because you had Lady Gaga wearing
Meat.
and they talked about her for 4
Right.
months straight behind it. And even negative attention is still attention.
Yep.
They stay relevant.
Right.
You know,
Unfortunately,
I'm not gonna say it's great hip hop. The lyrics aren't that awesome. I wouldn't say that they're lyricists. I wouldn't go into ladies first on them. But I mean, if it's
Right.
what's gonna pay their bills at night, rock out, sister.
Right. Right.
unfortunately, we haven't come to a point in hip hop where women are respected for their lyrics just yet. They've had a few. Yeah, they've had a few, but we've lost it, and hopefully we could get back to it.
It just doesn't sell. It's unfortunate, but it doesn't sell. I'll go to what's his name? What is his name? 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz graduated summa cum laude. He's a serious lyricist, but because they wouldn't sell with what he was writing, he went a whole nother route, and now we all know who he is. It's
Right.
whether you're ready. Look, if you're gonna sell your soul, you're gonna sell your soul. But I'm not saying they sold. This is who they are. Cardi B was a straight stripper. She was
Right.
raunchy. She made it work for her. She got off the pole and on the stage, a real stage, you know. So
Right.
God
Right.
bless her. God bless her.
Yeah, she's not acting. But some are following.
I got
some
no
are
problem
actually
with
living.
Cardi B.
No, I never
Yeah,
did.
I got
Yeah,
no.
I never
but
did.
Actually living.
I
Now,
don't have.
Porter,
I
She's a
listen.
businesswoman.
Right.
I think she.
Honestly, because they're women, they're being highlighted. Because the young men that are rapping right now, we can discuss why they think it's okay to sip lean out of a styrofoam cup and tell the kids it's okay
And
to
get
do
their
it.
nails done in straight long claws and wear lipstick and pocketbooks. But this hip hop
Right.
and it is what it is.
all right, well, now that leads into this question that I have.
I think hip hop should be broken down into different genres. Like you have pop and you have rock. You should have rock rap and hip hop and break them
Right.
down.
She just named something. Strip hop. You got a patent on
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So-
you got to copyright that. I mean, trademark that, no doubt.
Copyright it. Yeah,
Copyright
trademark
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got one question though, and it had nothing to do with Cardi B and the song from the song angle, but it had to do with hip hop as a culture. Why is there such violence? Why are there guns? Don't you think that perpetuates the violence on the street? That's my problem with hip hop. All right.
Well,
so,
when you can go back to NWA, you know,
Mhm.
they can only rhyme about what they know. If that's all they know. And I mean, again, it's I hate to say it, but it sells. My only problem is people that they what is it? Glorify being in a gang when they've never been in a gang, glorify shooting guns when they've never shot guns, and now you got a bunch of kids in the street trying to emulate them, but they're really living in this hard life, and others were just brought up to, you know, to portray it in front of them, make it seem like they're hard. You have some look what's going on with all these
You
rappers
got
and
hip hop kids, corrupt cops, and crack rock and
straight
straight
shots
shots
all on the block that stays hot. That really happens for these
Yeah.
niggas,
oh, yeah, okay.
you know.
Okay.
And then you have the ones like, oh God, I hate to even say his name. Rainbow. I'm not gonna say his name.
Oh,
Will Smith.
Takashi.
I don't want to.
Oh no, it was
But
6ix9ine.
Voldemort,
Oh yeah.
Voldemort. We're not giving them
Takashi.
that. Don't say. I mean, Baltimore. We're not saying his name. I refuse to say his name.
I'm
Right, he's a
sorry. I'm
clown.
sorry.
I just
Hmm.
he has been fake since day one, and they took a fake gangster. They made him out. They put him out there as if he was so real, and all these kids followed him. And
Yes.
he's a culture vulture. You have a bunch of young black kids thinking it's okay to be in a gang because he makes it glorified, and then he gets into something. And what does he do, Your Honor? I know who killed Ghost.
Yep.
Right.
You know, he
Yeah,
does.
rat. Yeah,
You
he's
know,
Yeah.
and then he comes home and he makes a song as a rat.
Please
And
understand this.
it's come
This
on.
is very important to me because
Yes.
I really want this understood. Snitching is misunderstood. There is snitching, and then there is saving your community. When you're involved in illegal activities, when you personally, knowingly get involved in illegal activities and get arrested, and then tell on the people you did it with, that's snitching.
But if you are a citizen and you are not involved and you get caught up, you don't have to sit there for something you had nothing to do with. If that person doesn't love you enough to tell on themselves to get you out, why should you not tell them on them and stay in?
But more importantly, young ladies are going missing every day.
Thank you.
Right.
If you know
Yes.
of someone sex trafficking another individual, say something.
Thank
That
you.
is
Right.
not snitching.
That's saving
The
a life.
It's not saving a
the
life.
minute
Yes.
you know of someone that is kidnapping someone, holding them against their hostage,
Forcing them.
holding them against their will in a hostage situation and forcing them to engage in sex acts, letting the authorities know where that person is not snitching.
People.
I say that to say know what snitching is and know what it's not.
Yeah.
I think that the community has it misconstrued. I will again say if you knowingly and willingly engage in an illegal activity and you get caught and you tell on everybody you did it with, then you're snitching. If you're a law-abiding citizen that gets caught up in something you have nothing to do with, and someone says, "Oh, just hold that," no.
Right.
They don't love you. I don't care if it's a family member. If they don't love you enough to keep you out of it, you don't need to love them enough to keep yourself in it. And secondly, if you know of something happening to someone, sex trafficking is very, very real. And please watch our young women and men out there. And it's not just young women, it's snatching young boys.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Ladies. It is modern day slavery.
Mm-hmm.
If you know something, say something.
Please. One of
Right.
my students are missing right now. It breaks my heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible. Greg just got off. A member of his family is missing as well. A young
Really?
lady,
Oh.
13 years old in Pennsylvania.
She's 12
Yeah.
right here on Staten Island.
So sorry
Wow.
to hear that. That's
My
every
horrible.
prayers.
adult's nightmare.
My
Yes.
prayers. My
We
prayers.
have to be there for each other. We have to protect our babies.
Yes, that's for sure. Speak up.
It takes a
Speak up.
village, people. We have to
Definitely.
protect
That's
our
how I was
community.
raised. It takes a village.
Yep.
Well, that's
Yeah.
become a
Yeah.
mantra to us, a mantra. It takes
Mhm.
a village. And that's what we got to get back to. I mean, we
Right.
left that somewhere along the line. We dropped that. But, we have to get back to that. Otherwise we won't survive. I'm just going to be just honest.
Right.
It's something that we have to do.
Yeah.
We
It
have to
used
do.
to be with a whole block kid, growing when we were little, we lived in Brooklyn and we could be
Mhm.
outside, of course, until the street lights came on. But our parents didn't have to be there. The aunts and uncles were on the block. They watched us. They watched
Right.
everybody's kids. Now, if you see somebody's child running the street and you run and get them, the mother says, "Don't touch my child. I got my
Right.
child." That's where
Mhm.
that comes from. We're supposed to be able to help each
It
other.
went from "Ain't you so and so's child?" Get in the house, and we would listen.
Right.
To "Don't talk to my child
Right.
like that." I tell everybody, please grab my child up and send them home.
Shyheim's trying to call.
Exactly. Oh, Shyheim's trying to call?
Hold on.
Okay.
What up, sister?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Sha?
Huh?
Can y'all hear him?
Yes, it's low, but we can hear him.
Shyheim, tell them what projects you have out now and where they can follow you at in your music.
Shit, Shyheim _rugged, Instagram, Shyheim Manchild Franklin, Facebook, Apple Music, new single Ninja Stars is out, featuring my Don Pacino, featuring me, and Amadeus, Shyheim's Blues is also out, available.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Welcome home, brother.
music.
He can't hear y'all. If they said welcome home,
Oh,
so
okay.
we have to ear project. Well, you'll have to get on this show later. We just wanted you to shout out your stuff. They wanted to hear what you had going on.
Okay. Yeah,
All
set
right.
it up.
Okay.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you,
So
girls.
just set
You're
up
welcome.
Appreciate
the
that.
interview with him, and y'all get that done.
All
All
right.
right.
Hey,
We'll definitely follow up. Go ahead, Ernest.
yeah. So, I mean, what Walter was in there saying about the fact that if we don't strengthen our village back, then we'll lose it. And then part of the reason why I had opened with that question about the situation with the music from Cardi, and everything else was because of hip hop was a major, I think, a major key role into that and how we looked at ourselves and how we carried ourselves. We did have songs like Self Destruction and One Game, briefly, right, and then that kind of went away. So I'm tying all this together to ask, how will you all impact where hip hop goes from here? How will you all be involved in helping redefine where those lines are, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what's cool or what's not cool? Because that's what hip hop did. It told you what was cool, what to wear, what not to wear, how to talk, how not to talk. So how will, or have you all thought about how you're going to help with the projection of hip hop as it pertains to re-strengthening our community?
Well, hip hop, much like fashion, is a cycle, because before self-destruction we had Melly Mel with the Message, and then we
Right.
went through
Right.
the 90s where, when the dancers were excluded and everything became hardcore, and it's talked about drugs in the street and the shooting and the thing, but it was done in a different lyrical form. And it will rotate and it will bring itself back as long as we keep teaching our youth about our music. In rock and other genres, those artists perform until they're almost dead, and it didn't
Right.
become it. And I shout out Jay-Z for this. Up until Jay-Z decided to keep rapping way into his 40s, hip hop was like sports. You had to stop in your 20s. You was considered outdated.
Right.
So now all of the 90 artists are back. You have
Mhm.
Fat Joe Ryman, you have Busta Rhymes, you got Jadakiss, you have those 90s. They came back to show the difference between our era and the artists that are out now. But much like our parents didn't understand us with it, we're not really supposed to understand them. We're supposed to find a happy medium. We have to talk to each other. Play your music for your kids like our parents played Teddy Pendergrass for us, or they won't
Right.
know what we had. Play
Absolutely.
Self-Destruction for them.
That's true.
And then play UNITY for them. Play it.
When my
Yeah.
daughter was 14 years old, she asked me about dating, and I played a Teenage Love by Slick Rick. And she looked at me. I was like, "This is the best way for me to explain to you what's really gonna happen between you and the boy." And as we went through different parts of it, I explained. There's certain
Right.
parts that he talks about when she has sex with him, and everybody finds out, or all of that's in that song. And she would have never heard that if I didn't play it for her.
Ask
Right.
a teenager who Big Daddy Kane is, and they'll look at you dumbfounded. They might know who Def Leppard is before that because they'll buy their T-shirt.
Yeah.
If we don't
Right.
teach our kids the history of it, and they won't know where it comes from, and then they will never have heard that song. I listen to Wake Up Everybody. Why can't they
Right.
listen to Self-Destruction?
Mhm.
And it's important. That's how we keep it relevant. That's how we move hip hop into restructuring our communities. First, they have to listen to us. We can't talk to them and say what you're doing is wrong and it's stupid. They're not going to want to listen.
I feel that new hip hop artists should be responsible for doing their homework. To have someone like French Montana use a sample and say that sample wasn't used by someone before,
Right.
you don't even know where you got this from.
They don't know where they got it from.
And people
Mhm.
need to stop taking 100% credit for things that are not theirs. And this is where I come into this. Drake used a sample that was done by Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill comes out and acts like she wrote that song, when in actuality that sample was used by Raekwon and Ghost, and before that it was Gladys Knight. So if you're gonna
Right.
pass
Do
something
the
on,
history.
then be honest, do your homework, and be honest of
Right.
where it comes from.
That's
You
true. I
know?
must say, I'm gonna say my son. He's been into music since he was 3 years old. Musician, and he's a professional musician. But growing up, I played a lot of music, and he can listen to a song and say, "Well, that sounds like a remake." So he'll go back on the original song, which most kids don't do. They think, "Oh, they made that song. It just came out. They own it." No, there's history behind this music. You
Yes.
know,
We
so
got to pass it
we have to
down to
pass
them,
it
though.
down. Yeah, you have to
I
pass
played
it
a
down.
Michael Jackson song one time, and the kid said he stole that song from so and so, and I was like, "Yeah, you got it backwards.
Right,
You
right.
got it backwards."
They do. They have it
That's how it
backwards.
went.
This generation. Yeah, they
Mhm.
But
definitely
Yeah.
do.
let's salute a old school rapper though. Nas won a Grammy
Oh
finally.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, that was amazing.
All
Going
right,
up
all
Yeah,
against
right.
some of these young people. So
yeah, that was
it's
So
phenomenal.
glad he
they're
got one.
still
I
they're
just
still
wish it was
relevant.
with the album that deserved it.
Me too.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
But
Yes.
we'll
But,
take it when we can
We'll
get it.
take it
When we
whatever
can
way you can get
acknowledge
it.
like
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
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 Well deserved.
but
That's
it
for
shows
sure.
that he's still relevant with these young
Um,
folks. So
Listen,
Absolutely.
my daughter put up a post a couple of years ago. She was at a concert. The Bad Boy reunion, and Puppy brought Nas out, and she said, "God, Nas is still fine as ever." And I looked at her and said, what do you know about him being fine?" But I was glad to know she knew who he was.
And I will
Right.
shout out Jay-Z, because Jay-Z influenced Nas to get back in the studio.
Right.
Jay-Z wanted to retire. He said, "I can't leave the game alone. Rap needs me," and he has never lied. But because he continued on, people from the 90s said, "Well, if he can do it, I can
Right.
still rap. I
Mhm.
can still
Right.
rhyme. I can still rhyme." And we have great music coming out. Great
the
music
one
coming
the
out.
one thing I think they need to do though, and this will help some of the content that's coming out. A lot of them need to get into the boardroom because a lot of this music is only out because these white executives are pushing this stuff out there. They're not pushing the
These
positive
they're not
stuff
signed.
out there.
These,
They're independent.
Right.
all of these artists are independent. They're keeping 100% of their money. These kids are geniuses. I mean, you
Yeah.
cannot. You
And
cannot.
they don't consider themselves hip hop artists.
They consider themselves rock stars.
And they say it. They
Hmm.
consider themselves pop
Little
stars and
Uzi
rock
said
stars.
straight up and down, "I'm not a rapper. I'm a rock star." And he dresses just like one. You can't get
And
mad
what
at
is the
him
difference
for looking like
between?
David
Oh,
Bowie.
What is the
I'm not
difference
mad
between
at
a
them
rapper
for
and a
making
rock?
their money,
Oh
They
man, I
don't
didn't mean to
consider
laugh
but
that hard.
they don't consider themselves hip hop artists. They don't. They
Yeah.
consider themselves
Yeah.
musicians. A lot of them are playing instruments.
Right.
Who performed at the Grammys? Who
They're
started with
gonna
the
stay
piano?
relevant by all means
a lot of them are
necessary.
lying though. That's the problem. A lot of them are not telling the truth. They're lying.
Absolutely
They're
not.
not gangsters.
They're not doing it
Oh,
for
they're
that.
Yeah.
They're
not.
doing it to entertain us.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. There's a young man that made the song Corvette, Corvette. Everybody, knows that the
Hmm.
reel was out.
CJ, right?
Okay, so and when that boy was 13 years old, he saw his brother get killed in front of him, and his mother took him down to the precinct and told him, "Tell him what you saw." And he told on the guy that killed his brother. Now he gets signed. Uzi backs him and does the remake with him. And then someone puts out that he snitched. And all of these artists have the audacity to turn their back on this boy for doing exactly what he was supposed to do at 13. Now, there's a guy, I cannot think of his name, but he went viral. He came at Gilly the King because Gilly the King turned around and said, "Don't work with this young man either." And he said, "Who made these people the gangsters?" He said, "Who told little Uzi he can even call himself Uzi when he's never held a Uzi the day in his life?" He said, I did time in jail. I'm a real street dude. Let that boy rap. He did exactly what he was supposed to do when his mother dragged him by his ear down to the precinct. He's 20 years old now, and his career is ruined for telling on someone who killed his brother in front of him.
Wow.
I think that's terrible.
Yeah.
Telling on,
Horrible.
he did what he was supposed to do. Because I'm telling you right now, you shoot my family member in front of me, the cops don't even have to leave the block. Excuse me, officer.
That nigga right there.
Right.
Slick Rick said it for me years ago.
Yeah, he said it. Slick Rick said it in his song. Excuse me,
Officer,
officer. That
right there.
I'm not dealing with it. You're shooting your brother in front of him, and he's the wrong one.
And he was a child
he was
at
13.
that.
He did what he was supposed to do. Now, as far as it's been many years in hip hop that rappers were saying things that they weren't a part of. One of my favorite rappers, Jadakiss, love him to death. But he rhymed a lot about being in jail and had never been in jail.
And then he said, I never been in jail. I had a hungry ass lawyer that would eat the case.
In one of his songs. But in another song, he said, wake up and pop a CO just because it's boring. I had to use the force at work because an inmate came out, said that in his and swung at me. Wake up and pop a CO just because it's boring, from somebody who had never even seen the inside of a jail.
Wow.
And he's on everybody's top 5.
He's on my top 5.
He's on top 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you got me going.
Well, I must say that, thank God.
He ain't top 5, though.
Boy.
He's on her top 5.
He's on my top 5 years.
Wow. Well, I must say the verses is definitely verses is
I'm gonna put Wu-Tang as one.
Oh yeah,
one all
definitely.
Together. I don't need to break
That's for
down.
sure. Nope.
I tell you what is
classic.
in my top 5 that people have. He's been underrated. They don't give him his just due, and I say it all the time. Cool G Rap.
Definitely. Streets of New York. Absolutely.
Always been one of my favorites.
Yes.
But that's
I'll co-sign that one.
Thank you. Where's the applause at? Where's the button?
Yeah, right. Where's the button, Walter? Well, I want to give Versus a shout out because, if it wasn't, go ahead.
I was just waiting for you.
You all late.
I was so involved with the conversation. I'm trying to learn something. So y'all guys lost me about 5 minutes ago. I got lost, so I'm trying to catch up. But
all
anyway,
good, all good.
Go ahead.
But yeah, Versus is bringing out, all the old school music, thank God. And now, they're making them more relevant and they're buying their music now. So shout out to them. We're bringing all the old school artists back.
You know what happened with a lot of our artists, in my opinion, is that when some of them got signed, they signed contracts, I'll do this amount of albums, and then they realize that the contract's not that great, so they just start putting out garbage to fulfill the contract. And it's not what we wanted from the beginning. Now we're just dealing with anything, and it becomes disappointing. So now that some of them are more free, they're they're putting stuff out, or they're coming out on. I do have to give it to some of these new artists. They do bring out the old school and make them features on some of their songs. Don't sleep all these artists. You have people like Lil Baby. I'm not gonna say I'm a great fan of his, but when what was that song he made after he just performed it on the Grammys? Oh, what is this song? Anyway, it's very, very positive. I love it.
We have a lot of newer artists that are amazing. Kendrick is deep. I like J.
I wouldn't call him newer.
I'm talking about
new to you.
Not new, but in the same. They came out with some of these artists that we're like, what's going on with this one? But it's 2 different genres under a hip hop umbrella. For many years, all Black music was put under R&B, and it was not. It wasn't a rhythm and soul, and it wasn't the same. And before we had our own there, we were put under the same as rock and pop. So
who said that?
So it needs to be broken down.
Tyler, the Creator, said it's not fair that they put all Black music under urban on the award shows because he's completely in a different genre, and yet they always put him in the same genre. And it's right. He's right. I like what's her name? Mom in grade 2, Lizzo. I don't consider Lizzo a rapper. Yet she got Best Female Rap Award. Like what is she doing in that category?
We have a lot of work to do. But now we're finally getting people. We're finally getting a seat at the table, and we just gotta wait till they get to the music because they're revamping Disney as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, they are.
They'll eventually get to the music, but that's they don't consider that something as important as our visual aspect of it.
Right.
It's like Disney. I was just so happy to see when they turned around and took Tiana and made her Black after someone said, "Did you read this book?"
Yeah.
These are the same people that made Cleopatra Elizabeth Taylor. We've come a long way, but we got a far way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
I think BLM and that whole movement is almost like the Me Too movement. It's knocking down a lot of walls and pushing people to recognize Black contributions, and we're starting.
Absolutely.
We got a long way to go, but
we have to start recognizing them ourselves and making sure that we
yes,
acknowledge it, because a lot of people, unfortunately, they get their foot through the door and then forget. I'm in here now. Good luck with that. We have to keep the door open.
It's a controversial aspect, but I speak on it because it's how I feel. Segregation did a lot. Integration did a lot of harm to our community.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, integration is an amazing thing, but our self-hate and our need to be accepted.
I was going to speak on that when we talked about the village.
We bought our own. When we were amongst ourselves, we kept our neighborhoods good, and our money stayed there, and we took pride and had our own. And the minute they said, "Oh, now you can come over here with your money," everybody that could ran, and those that couldn't had to stay and it became our ghettos, and we didn't look back.
And now gentrification is pushing out the people that couldn't leave now can't even afford to stay because of gentrification.
There's a saying in real estate that says if there's blood on the ground,
put your money down.
Right.
Buy there. And sadly, we turned our back because we can take our money to you. Now we won't spend it amongst our own. And now we are our worst enemy. I saw a Black designer say the worst set of people to a Black designer are Black people, because they won't spend their money with us. They'll ask us for a discount, but they'd rather take their money to the Louis Vuittons and the Gucci's. And I am just as bad. I have all of that, but at the same time, Gucci doesn't even know who I am. But my friend has a clothing line. Why not support him? My friend sells sunglasses. Why not support him? I don't know Tom Ford, but I know David Ford.
But let me say this, and I'm still going to support. But I decided 1 month I only bought Black. I bought from everybody on my social media that had a brand. I purchased something from. I had family members showing up that I didn't even know were coming, and I'm selling this, and I purchased it. And then my husband put out a hoodie, and I promoted it. And when I tell you about 5 people purchased, I said, you know what? I'm done. I'll still do it.
Wow.
They didn't come through neither.
Nah,
the nerve of
I know.
That's what happened with hip hop, the genre. Most of these older rappers like Big Daddy Kane and all of those guys, they're more popular overseas and in Japan and places like that.
Right.
We're giving away our culture to other people.
I wouldn't say giving it away. I would just say that $1 is $1. I don't care where you get it from.
No, I'm not talking about them going where they got to eat, right? But we don't support them anymore. Like you said, Mick Jagger could get on. He could be wheeled on stage, and they're gonna go see him.
They're gonna go see him. Yeah.
They're going with their kids. It's 3 generations at that concert.
And there should be 3 generations at ours. Take your kids to a Big Daddy
what was
show.
Awesome?
Take your kids to Excuse Me, but it helps me with my children. UTFO show. Take your kids to
Run DMC. Well, Run and Diggy did a joint concert years ago at the Barclay. It was a Christmas concert, and it was 2 different generations. And me and my husband went with my daughters, and I actually enjoyed. It was so fun to be at a hip hop concert where it was both mixed music. It was their generation and my generation at the same time. I loved it. Unfortunately, it was funny because Reverend Run got on stage and he decided that he wasn't going to be Reverend Run for the night. And he said, I'm not Reverend Run tonight. F that motherfucker. I'm Run from Run DMC. And as soon as he said that, all the electricity in the house went out. I said, God had other plans.
What?
The minute he said that, the place
wow.
The Barclay.
It was a blackout. We had to wait for them to get the power.
I said, well, God, I bet you won't. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Did something on that stage that was amazing. He took off his sneaker,
his hat,
and he took off his hat and had the other members sign it and gave it to somebody in the crowd and said, "Now go sell that."
Yes, he did.
Oh wow. Incredible.
That was a good night.
It's a good night.
Friends. Take your kids, take your little cousins, take them
I
to the
promise
concerts
you, my
with you.
daughters know every word to every Wu-Tang song ever. Because whenever I have a barbecue, that's what we're listening to. They'll take over later.
I give them their time. I give them their time. They can hit the
Right.
wall for after we finish. After
Yep.
the grown
Teach
folks
one.
finish, as my mama used to say.
Exactly.
Amazing. You ladies were amazing. We
Thank
appreciate
you so
this.
much for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much for having
Oh
Yeah.
us.
yes,
It's
thank
a
you, thank you, thank you very much. All right, now we're pushing up. We're pushing up against the clock. That time again. All right. I do want to thank the ladies. I want to thank the panel. This was a fantastic show. I learned a lot. All right. You know, I go back to Marvin Gaye and the Temptations and all that. So,
Yes.
Yes. We
yeah.
do
So
too.
I learned a lot. So I may have been a little slow with the button, but, you know, hey, I'm toggling.
It's all
But
good. Yeah.
yeah, but you know, again, thank you, ladies, and thank you for bringing those points to our attention. The things that you do, the contribution that you made to society through your kids, and your
Right.
parents to you, and you to your kids, because they're all
Amen.
contributing members of society, and that's what I teach my kids: be contributing members of society. That's what you want to be. That's the
Yes.
goal. All right.
Yes.
That way you can pass it on to further future generations.
Each one
Okay.
That's
teach
right.
one.
All
That's
right,
right.
now I do want to say, and always say, please follow, like, and share the Walt Weekly podcast. All right, now this podcast will be re-released on Sunday after 3 p.m. It'll be on all your streaming platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, it's going to be there. Just search the Walt Weekly podcast. Okay,
Okay.
and we were a little. Next week's going to be a little bit heavier because upcoming,
Mhm.
and usually I'm going to turn this over to Michelle in just one moment, but we want to talk about QAnon next Friday. So you join us for that because it's very important that we do talk about them because you may be friends with one. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
That's
So you
right.
never know. So you really
You
want to
never
just know
know.
who they are. All right. You want to
Yes.
talk about who they are. Okay. And what they believe in and why they believe in what they believe in. Okay.
I'm going to
All
get
right.
Right.
So
tapped in because I'm in the dark with some of it. I know I little, but I want to know some more.
you're going to definitely find out some more. You join us next Friday, please. All right. Now
Yes.
I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle and let her take us out from
Awesome.
here. All
All
right,
right,
Michelle.
Walter. Thank you. Thank you to our guests, to Jerry and to Kari, for joining us for Women's History Month. This
Thank you
broadcast,
for having
this
us.
will be rebroadcast on Sunday at 3 p.m. You're welcome. Thank you to our weekly panel members, sponsors, and of course the Walt Weekly audience for joining us every Friday for Friday Live. You can follow us at www.thewaltweekly.com, IG and Facebook, The Walt Weekly, Twitter, Walt Weekly, Podbean, The Walt Weekly. We are on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and other streaming platforms. Thank you all. Be blessed and have a great weekend.
Thank
Stay
you. You
safe.
too.
All
Good
right.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bless. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.